Look at that. Isn't that cool? Goes on with us. Wow. Hello everyone, I'm Lila Tracy from Toucan Hobby, and today I'll be showing you guys this awesome customized and assembled painted by Toucan Hobby. So this is going to be our U535 off-road truck, and it is of course a fully metal model. So if you want something that's really professional in the RC hobby, this is going to be a good off-road truck for you. So now let's jump into all the details and all the upgrades we've made on this awesome model. And now we do have all these accessories for the truck that we haven't yet installed since it's gonna go to the customer. So we do have the sun visor that goes right on the top of it there. So of course it's gonna look way better once everything has been installed. We have of course the windshield wipers that go right here, the side mirrors for both of the sides, as well as some screws, some tools, and of course these stickers that are going to go on the inside actually of the cabin. So this is going to be like on the inside, as well as another mirror over here and the logo finally. So the customer will have to put this on himself since we cannot ship with these connected to prevent any breakage. So we're trying to take care of all the models. And now let's jump into the paint job of our U535 over here. So it was painted in this awesome Kawasaki green color. Starting over from here, we have the winch. So the winch, this is not the original color. This had to be custom painted, and of course it's a beautiful winch, which is different from the normal ones that we always see with the pin having to be here instead of like a snow mechanism. And of course it's a fully electric winch. And over here we do have the front bumper painted green over here, but the bracket that holds the winch has been painted in this nice black color. And of course our entire cabin is a full metal cabin, and it has been painted in this awesome green and black as well. And of course the front does open up, and I'll show you guys what's under there later. So the entire truck has this amazing beautiful color, of course painted by Toucan Hobby. We do have the green in the rims over here, and the center kept black, and of course green all the way around, as well as the full metal bucket as well in green with some black fenders. So the chassis was left in its original color, but with black as well. All the black parts left black, and of course with green. So this is the awesome color scheme that this customer likes. Of course it's always going to be this Kawasaki green with the black color. All right, now let's talk upgrades. So first things first, the added electrical winch on the front. So this was not originally here, had to add this part. And of course the two marker lamps right over here also added. Some extra two spotlights on the top over here of the hood, and of course finally another bar light on the top over here, which is going to be a warning bar light. And we had to of course upgrade to this PL18 EV controller with a 12-channel receiver for this one. All right, now let's get into all the details of our model over here. So like I said before, the cabin, this entire part, that's going to be made out of metal, but the fender itself, this is going to be a plastic fender. Super soft rubber tires. Of course, it's an off-road truck. You do need that. And of course, full metal rims and wheel hubs on the inside. So we do have openable doors on this one, which you can just easily open that way. We do have, of course, the detailed interior. The doors on the inside have this part which leaves it with much more detail, and of course a full metal handle right over here. Now here is the most interesting part of our truck. First things first, we do have an adjustable seat on the inside. You just need to really press that and then push it, and you can see it easily adjust. Press and push back, which is really cool. So you can do this on both sides actually. Second thing is we actually can rotate the wheel over here, the driving wheel, and it rotates automatically with the steering. So once I turn it on, I will show you guys the steering and of course the rotation of the wheel. Now third, look at that. Isn't that cool? You can actually adjust that like in real life. So if you put your driver in here and maybe doesn't fit, you can just easily adjust everything because everything on the inside is adjustable. Isn't that really cool? And of course, one more thing, The pedals over here, one of them, the one on the far right, can actually move. That is so cool. So only one, this one does not, this one is not movable, it's static. But this one, that is so cool. So we've got brake pedals over here. We've got adjustable driving wheel. And of course it rotates. And finally, you can adjust the seat as well. So how cool is that? All right, now let's get into more of the details. Right over here, we do have the full metal steps leading up to our cabin door. So these parts are going to be metal, and then this part is going to be a plastic part that's housing the actual speaker of this part. So this sound unit speaker is going to be over here, and of course, full metal decorative part for an oil tank. So no hydraulic oil in this one since this is not a hydraulic model, but we do still have the hydraulic oil tank over here, but you do not need to use it for anything. You can actually even just unscrew this part to open it up and then just screw it back on. Pretty easy. And then over here in the rear, so this is going to be the plastic fender but held together by these metal parts. And of course, coming down back to the tires, for the wheel hubs over here, so they actually clamp into the tire. It's not easy at all to loosen these up. And of course, we do have some customized nuts over here, stainless steel nuts for this truck exactly. So there's a lot of special parts just for this truck. And now over here in the back, we do have this part, which is the full metal rear bumper. Of course, we've got our rear lights on the back as well. We do have the towing pin over here, which has a manual lock-in mechanism which goes back into place, which is pretty cool. And of course you can adjust it just like that to whichever position you need, which is quite helpful as well. And now coming over here on the right side of our truck, we do have a feature over here that you can actually just push this to open this part over here. So right now we have nothing installed over here, but if you need any other accessories you can add, just pretty much add some. So that's pretty easy. And of course, same full metal stairs leading all the way up into the cabin. And of course, we've got our plastic fenders, super soft tires with the awesome wheel hub that we have. And now finally, we can see over here the full metal exhaust pipe as well. Really nice, great addition. And the full metal bucket, of course, that we have over here. I'm going to show you guys how to open each and every side on this one. So that's going to make it look kind of like a flatbed. Now let's check out how to actually first remove the entire bucket. That's actually something you can do. So first things first, there's a few pins over here in each corner. So you have to pull that out and then pull out this other pin as well. So we're going to do that for each and every corner over here as well. Ooh, okay, got it. And then simply lift the bucket off. So you can actually disconnect the entire bucket off of the chassis, and now you just have the chassis itself. And there is still more to this bucket, okay? You can actually also open each and every side. Now, of course, this is not your ordinary bucket that you get on any other RC. So in order to open any of these doors, you always have to first open the back door. However, if you try to open this first, it's not going to work. That's because this locking pin locks both the door over here and the back door. So you need to unsecure it like that. So if I try to go that way, it's not going to work because this pin is going to stop it. So I need to first come out like that, and then of course unlock the pin over here as well. Let's see, and over here, and then finally both sides can finally open. And one more thing, you can see this part over here. Let's take a look under the bucket. You can actually pull this up and remove the entire part. So now that's a really cool feature. There's a lot of detailing. Look at all those lines. It is absolutely so well built and well made. So this, who could have even thought this was a bucket at one point? And of course, on the inside, we also have these parts that's going to be 3 on each side. So these are going to be used to be able to secure any of the cargo that you may have on here. You can just tie the straps over to each side. And of course, that's another just a great addition for this model. Now looking at the top of our chassis over here, we have of course our full metal chassis rails on each side with some members, cross members on the top. Now over here we do have our 3-speed gearbox. So this gearbox is designed according to the real thing. So it's got 3 different drive systems. So you've got 2-wheel drive for only the power at the back, and of course you've got the 4-wheel drive and the option for a differential lock, which is super cool. And on the inside it does adopt helical shaped gears, so it's really built to really be like the real thing. So that's why this model also costs a pretty penny. Now while we're here on the top, so for the cabin, to open the cabin, first you open the front over here, you find this bar, you gotta push this bar all the way down and then lift the cabin up just like that. So once you lift the cabin, it's actually going to be settled in. There's a mechanism right there that holds it, that is part of the bar on the top. So the locking mechanism locks this part as well as the part over there. So once I try to close it, I'll show you guys how to close it as well. And of course, we've got an awesome suspension system. You can see over here and here that really goes all the way down. So that makes it definitely off-road pretty perfect. And of course, for our motor, that's going to be a brushless motor, so only the best for this one. And we've got a bunch of other different electronics in here, and I just really love the suspension on this one. I'm having fun with that. Now, while we have under the cabin open, you might be thinking, where's the battery compartment? Well, there's a mechanism right over here. You have to push this to this side and then push this pad up, and that's going to be your battery compartment. So now we're going to be using an XT60 connector 2S battery. That's the one that fits for this one. So this is going to be a 4,000 milliamp app. And you can easily just... So now once you have your battery in, so you can see, just look at how cool, that is so well made. I love like all of these parts are metal, well, except for this pipe, which is just a simulated part. So do the same thing, push it down. And now how to close back up the cabin. So you have to go there, look for the bar again, the same bar we pushed down earlier, and try to push it down again, which I don't know why the mechanisms for this one are really professional and complicated. And we got it. So that's pretty easy, I think-ish. I mean, it's very complicated, to be honest. Opening and closing that is a lot of work, but it just shows you the amount of thought and professionalism that goes into designing these really realistic models. Now to turn on the truck, all you have to do is press the power switch over here. And of course, first things first, the warning light that we have installed over here on the top will turn on. And now I can show you guys the light system of our truck. And now for the operation, first it's going to be the light system. So for the light system, this bar light on the top over here, there is no off option for it. So it's going to be this switch right over here. You have to push down twice to change the mode. So there is a lot of different modes on this one. Haven't gotten a chance to count them yet since we do not know when it can actually turn off. And then for the front lights over here, it's going to be this switch right here. So you get the headlights on, and of course the added lights on the top over here, spotlights here, and of course the lights on the side. So it's only 1, 2, 3. And then once you push it up and hold, you have the indicator lights turn on. And of course, on the front here, we do have the winch. So it's going to be manual and automatic. So for manual, you need to first unlock this part. So just push this up that way. So now that that's unlocked, you can easily draw the line. So this line is, I'm thinking maybe around 1 meter. I'm not sure, but I think so. And of course, to push it back in, we cannot obviously wrap it around, so we have to lock this part up again. And now that this part is unlocked, we can easily push VRE. And then it will have to go back in again. And now that we're done with the winch, coming over here, it's the steering. So here's something super cool. So you can see whenever I steer, the steering wheel on the inside as well goes on with us. And now for the sound system, I'll switch right over here, push it down for the sound. And of course, we've got the hoot. And for volume control, that's going to be, whoa. Let's just put this away a little bit, okay. So under the hood, in the front, this right over here, this knob, that's going to be your volume control. Now let's check out the speed transmission on this because it has really, really good gear transmission. So first things first, this is going to be the switch right here. All the way down, that's low speed. So now let's try out the low speed. So that's our low speed. And of course, it's super powerful. Even on low speed, you can actually easily climb any slope. I'll show you guys later on the power that it has. And then medium speed right on the middle. We've got really good brakes on this one. Of course, it's off-road. It has to have them. And then finally, high speed. I'm scared, but here we go. Slowly first, pretty smooth. And then, wow. That is really cool. And of course, we've got our rear lights, reversing and indicator. Brake lights, reversing lights, and of course, indicator lights. And now let's get into the driving modes that we have on this one. So it has 3. We've got the diff lock, 2-wheel drive, and 4-wheel drive. So our switch right over there is going to be it. So right now, we are on a simple, easy 2-wheel drive. So we only have power in our rear axle at this point. And then once I push it onto the center, we're going to have it at 4-wheel drive. And then finally, all the way to the end, that's going to be our diff lock. Let me be really careful here. Well, so that's a pretty cool feature that this has. And now we're going to test the strength of our low speed mode. Of course, our differential is on, low speed over here. And now let's see if it can make it up this obstacle that we have. Oh, well that's pretty easy. No struggle at all. Really good suspension system, shock absorbers over here. Super soft tires. That was a piece of cake. Really good speed reduction and strength for this one. That's pretty cool. Now let's take a look at the awesome chassis on this beast. Just look at how amazing it absolutely looks. So starting from the front over here, our front axle has a simulated portal axle right over here. So it's off center, it's lifted a little bit to give more ground clearance. Of course, for an off-road truck, you need that. And right over here, that's going to be our servo for steering. So I can show you guys. And now over here we have 2 servos. So this servo is going to be for our drive transmission with the 3 different drive modes. And then the servo over here that goes into our gearbox, that's going to be for your 3 speed transmission. And of course our supporter axle over here that's made of a CNC cut aluminum alloy, and it has around a 400 millimeter turning radius with, of course, really good suspension. Just look at how deep that goes. That's pretty cool. Super soft tires as well. In the back we have the same suspension system going on. All right, everyone, now that is our customized Toucan Hobby U535 off-road truck. And it is, of course, with a full metal CNC cabin cut from an aluminum alloy over here, and of course full metal bucket here. So it has an amazing chassis, very good at realism. And if you need any more upgrades or anything, of course contact us and let us know if you need to get yourself a custom made model just like this one. So I'm Lolo Tracy from Toucan Hobby, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.